I think really the place to start is with this illness. You're back here. You got medical care here. Did you figure this thing out?
Yeah, I had some sort of stomach virus bug, and just kind of wiped me out during the meet. A lot of different symptoms that I've talked about already. I can repeat it if you want, but don't know if I have to go through all of it again. But yeah, just really wiped me out. Had a lot of fatigue and dehydration, weight loss, sleep trouble, just with the stomach virus. So feels good to be better now, and taking a little bit of a break right now, and doing some extra tests just to make sure that I'm completely healthy going into this year, and try to learn as much as I can from the past week and move on from it.
Have you ever had anything like this in your swimming career where you've been knocked down like that?
I've had a few things, unfortunately. The biggest thing, I guess, would have been duel in the pool 2013. That was more of a sinus infection that was pretty bad, and had to pull out of a few events, I think, there, kind of work up my strength to get one good race in for some points for the team. But and then obviously it happens to every athlete just at smaller meets over the years when you're younger and things like that. But fortunately, never at this level until now. So I guess I have been lucky over the years that nothing like this has happened at that level. So it happened, and happens to most people at some point over their career. So I guess I'm just glad that it was this year and not next year, and hopefully can take things away from this year and learn and make sure that I am healthy, or control as much as I can to be healthy. Some things you just can't control, but do everything that I can control.
What percentage were you in the 800?
I said right after the race in Gwangju, it's hard to put a percentage on it. I'd say I was probably somewhere around 80, 85. But just being out of the water for about 2 days in the middle of the meet really takes its toll. I was swimming that 800, and right from the get-go, I was like, I don't have the same feel or strength in the water. I was telling myself, I hope I get some of that strength back by the end of the race. Maybe I'll build up some strength, some feel for the water. That didn't really happen, but luckily I was able to stay calm and kind of just stay in the race and trust that I could put in a kick the last 50 and tough it out for 29 seconds and get my hands along.
Why was it important for you to do that 800?
It's not like it was important, but I knew I was capable of getting through it. Worked up enough strength and got well enough to be able to know that I could, put myself in contention. Didn't really know how it was going to go until I got in it, but it is a good feeling to finish on that kind of a note and not walk away from Korea with a really horrible feeling of how that meet went. Still kind of stings what happened, but again, you can't control some of those things, and it's nice to take a little bit of a positive and a gold medal back home.
Looking back, how do you feel you handled the whole week? It's a hard thing just deciding to pull out of things, but then to come back the way you did. How do you feel about how you were able to personally handle that?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how I was able to handle it. I did the best I could, and I think the biggest thing is I was really lucky to be in such great hands with the team doctors and Greg and all the coaches who helped me through it and kept me positive and kept me focused on trying to get back to the meet and get back for that relay. That was kind of the first race that I was going to have back after I pulled out of the 1500 and the 200. So just kind of doing everything I could to stay positive and stay focused on getting well enough to be able to get up and race for the team, and then kind of just again taking it race by race at that point after the relay, deciding about prelims of the 800, and then once I signed the prelims of the 800, I kind of I wasn't going to swim the prelims and not swim the finals. There were some moments in between that were a little rough for me. Just my health was kind of up and down the whole week, and so just tried to get as much rest as I could at different points and take the meet each half day at a time.
When did you really start feeling like yourself again?
So, I mean, once the race was over, I mean, it felt good to just be done with the meet and not have to focus on being well enough to race. But you know, I sat in the stands on the last day of racing. I didn't have any races, and then that night I still had some pretty bad stomach stuff. So it's kind of, you know, around then I spent 2 days in Seoul after the meet doing some things, and kind of during that time I didn't really go around and adventure in Seoul. I kind of, again, just tried to get more rest and hydrate and get as healthy as I could be, and say by the time I got back here I was feeling quite a bit better. Then the jet lag kicks in and you're still struggling with some sleep, but my health is a lot better right now and feeling pretty good.
Katie, Greg called that 800 final some of the finest racing he's ever seen out of you. What's your description of that final? I mean, you don't usually have to sprint down somebody in the last 50.
Yeah, it was good racing. That's what it was. It was racing. I didn't care about time at that point. I knew it wasn't going to be a great time for me, so the only goal in that race was going to be to go for a medal, and once I dove in, I put myself in contention for gold, and it was a race that was different from any other race I've probably ever swum, where I did kind of have to assess how I was feeling and adjust on the fly. Went out for it from the start. I kind of felt like I had to do that to try to get some momentum going, and felt a little rough in the middle of the race, and Simona Quadarella pulled up right next to me. She was right next to me and was having a great race, stuck with me, and I just tried to stick with her and trust in my last 50. I kind of felt like I could make a move either the last 100 or the last 50 and decide as I go. And I felt like I was in a good position to just race the last 50 and kind of power through and move past her at the end.
What was the biggest thing that you feel like you've learned from the whole experience of what happened?
I think I learned a lot just about managing my energy and managing the things that I can control. I always feel like I do a good job of sleeping, getting enough rest, hydrating, recovering, all those things. So it was kind of tough that something got in my system that kind of threw that for a loop and made me sort of double down on those things and try to improve at all those things. And those are still areas I can improve on, and just learned a lot about managing a little bit of adversity and managing my emotions and energy, and just prioritizing my health in the moment.
Katie, what are you getting out of being here at Nationals?
Yeah,
Swimming.
it's been fun. I was always planning on coming back here to watch and just enjoy watching the meet in my home pool, and I was going to be in town anyway, so it's been fun to watch my teammates, get caught up with some teammates, spend some extra time with some of the teammates from World Championships. You know, after Worlds, we all usually go our separate ways, and you know, you kind of have a week where you're missing everyone, so it's kind of fun to see everyone kind of have a little bit of a transition period during a little bit of a break for me from the water training. So I've been keeping feel a little bit, trying to get a little bit of a feel still in the water, and then I'll start getting back into training in about a week and a half or so, and get moving.
And will you do any classes here at Stanford in this year leading up to the Olympics?
I won't be taking any classes. I'm helping out with some research in the psychology department through my advisor and her lab. So doing that to stay engaged and still get a couple units along the way, but I'm not taking a full load of classes. So after 2020, I'll have about a year and a half left of school.
What's the project?
So I'm working in the mind and body lab at Stanford and helping out one of the PhD students on some research around exercise and diet mindsets.
What's it
Were
been
you
like?
a subject or you just?
No, I'm not a subject. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it.
When you do something like that, are you able to self-reflect? I mean, does it help you as an athlete?
Oh, for sure. It's always been a good thing for me to have a balanced life, and I prioritize my education above anything, really. So it's been good to be able to still have something like that to focus on, while still also being able to put 100% into the water and my recovery and everything as I'm moving towards 2020.
I was, to follow up, I was thinking more specifically about this project.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it seems like it dovetails.
Yeah,
with-
no, it's been great. I think it's not too science heavy or anything too intense, but I think I've been able to give some good insights on some things around exercise and diet from an athlete's perspective, and just some little things that I've learned through being an athlete and being somebody that's done some speaking engagements. Just there's some different things that I feel like I've been able to help out with, which is really cool, and it's really fun to see the process, see the research process, and feel like I'm helping out a little bit.
You were
People
one.
know who you are? The people who are in this
Yeah,
project?
yeah.
You were once a young gun at a meet like this. What's your take on how all the young swimmers
Yeah.
are performing at this meet so far?
Yeah, this was actually one of my first really big meets, Junior Nationals here in 2011. I swam Junior Nationals, and then I came out a couple days early and swam on a relay at Senior Nationals right before. So I was thinking back to that during this week, and it's been cool to see all of the juniors swimming really fast here this week. I mean, some of the A finals, it's four or five of the swimmers are 16 or 17 years old, so it's really cool to see them step up and take advantage of that stage, that opportunity, and I'm excited to see where they go from here.
Katie, you're living off campus now. Do you feel like more like a professional athlete, or you still feel like a Stanford student?
Yeah, I do feel a little more on my own now, independent, I guess, living off campus, and it's been a really great transition and really great for me to have that and be able to control some of those things and be able to recover and just be off campus, invite some of my friends over, cook a meal, things like that. It's been fun.
Actually, cooking, I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
baking, because I understand that you guys, what's your favorite thing to bake?
I haven't done a lot of baking.
I guess-
I invited a couple teammates over once, and we made some cookies and took them over to some of my teammates. But I'm not someone that's baking cookies and brownies every other day.
Will your degree be in psychology?
Yes.
What are your goals for this year, for the 2020 Olympics?
I have a lot of goals, and I'm not gonna share the specifics behind those, but I feel really good about where I am. Obviously, this summer wasn't the gauge that I wanted to have on where I was in the races, but I also take a lot of confidence from where I've been at in training, and I know that my training has been as good as it's been, and that should have shown in Gwangju, but unfortunately didn't. So it's not like that training goes away, and I feel like I can really build on this year and just continue to trust in my training and trust in what I'm doing here, and just again really focus on those goals and work towards Olympic trials and hopefully Tokyo.
You never mentioned you were sick after the 400. Why was that?
I didn't want to take away from the great race that Ariane had, and it was a really great race, and honestly I didn't fully know what I had at that point. I knew something wasn't right, and I had lost a couple pounds and my appetite wasn't there for a couple days leading into the meet, but it really hit me the morning after when I had the 1500 prelims, and I'm not lying when I say that I almost got out at the 1100 mark. I had never felt like that before in a 1500. I've had a lot of 1500s that have hurt, and I've put myself through a lot in some of those races, but never have I gotten to the point where I felt like I was going to have to get out. So you can look at my splits, and I think I went a 106 or 107 around the 1100 point, and I mean, I thought it was over at that point. I thought everyone was just going to fly by me and maybe squeak into the final, but I knew I could just kind of blank out and try to get through it. I got through the last 400, and immediately once I got to the first person from USA Swimming that I saw, I said, not feeling well, I need to see the doctors, and my coach and the docs came over, and I sat there for 20 or 30 minutes with some ice packs, was just overheated, and my heart rate was elevated for about 20-30 minutes, even when I got on the bus and headed back to the village after that swim. So it was something that came on really quickly, and all the different symptoms that I had were kind of the result of that stomach bug that I had that it just kind of hit my system in all these different ways, and I'm happy with how I swam through it, and obviously the world is getting faster as well, and there were some great swims at World Championships in all my races, and being sick doesn't take away from any of that, and I know that those competitors are all going to be really tough next year. They're continuing to improve, so all those races are still going to be tough races for me next year when I'm healthy, and I know that I need to keep training well and keep my focus on those races, and take a lot of motivation away from the worlds that I have.
Will you guys gloves when she gets to the Olympics because she doesn't want to shake hands with somebody that might give her something? You think you might take any precautions?
It was tough. I was doing everything I felt like I needed to do. We were staying in a village at World Championships, which was different from any other World Championships. The only other time I've been in a village is the Olympics, and I mean, they had hand sanitizer out in the village in the cafeteria that I was using, but I can't control if there was something in the food, if the food wasn't being cooked properly, if I couldn't control if other people were using the hand sanitizer. I couldn't control whether people were, grabbing the dinner rolls with their hands and, infecting things. So there's only a certain amount you can control, and you do your best. And I know that as much as I was doing my part to try to stay healthy, that I can always improve in that. And I'll be doing a good job of that next year.
Katie, will you change your racing schedule at all for fall and winter because you didn't get to race as much as you wanted?
No, I think the schedule is about what I would have been doing anyways. There's nothing I feel like I need to see or do or race more of because of this week. I think I still kind of know where I'm at in my races. I was really consistent this whole year through the Pro Series meets and all the meets that I went to. So, I mean, my fastest times were at those meets, unfortunately, and that's not the way I would want it. But I can still learn from those races and just try to be better next year. And I'm sure you'll see me going faster than some of the times I was going at Worlds, at some of the Pro Series meets, Nationals, those kinds of things, just because hopefully I will be healthy.